But Trump is basically saying, we don't give a about what your morality is. And again, it's a hard one for people on the left to argue with, because they're the ones who say America's so evil. So his doctrine is basically, you do you.
Bill Maher.
Well, that is the new, well, there is a Trump doctrine now. You know, and if people have been followed in the past, our history, we have doctrines. The Monroe Doctrine back in the 19th century was saying, anything that happens in the Western Hemisphere, in the Caribbean, that's our business, and we will you. Then there was the Bush Doctrine. The Bush Doctrine was like, if you harbor terrorists, we will treat you like a terrorist yourself. Now we have the Trump Doctrine, which is, I think, as much of a departure as any doctrine a president has ever promulgated. Because what he is saying is, and I'll give you some of the quotes, is in the end, the so-called nation builders wrecked far more nations than they built. This is his speech in Riyadh. Interventionists were intervening in complex societies that they did not even understand. Now, I got to say, this is something people on the left said about Vietnam. Societies we did not even understand. We said it about Iraq. What are we doing here? But Trump is basically saying, we don't give a about what your morality is. And again, it's a hard one for people on the left to argue with, because they're the ones who say America's so evil. So his doctrine is basically, you do you. We all love money. We all love money, and we're not going to lecture you or hector you anymore about your morals.
The lecture thing.
You want to cut off somebody's head, a reporter's head with a bone saw? You know, we all have our peccadillos. That's his doctrine.
I talked to someone in the Trump administration yesterday about all of this, and they said literally what you just said. They said, quote, this person, Trump isn't going over there to lecture. He's going over there to do deals. This person described it fully as realism. He's transactional. That's who he is.
That's who he is.
And again, maybe the American people will decide this. The international community will decide this. The blob might think about this. Like, do we care about abandoning the traditional, like, morality of the United States, exporting our values overseas in service of good outcomes? It's a very interesting question.
It's a very reasonable question, because the other way didn't really work. I mean, planting democracy in the Middle East was really, I mean, they gave a lot of reasons why we went into Iraq, but that was really what, they couldn't say it all the time, but Thomas Friedman would say it for them. We need to plant a democracy in the heart of the Arab world. And it didn't work, because, you know what, you got to get rid of the religion. And they're not, that's not going to happen in our lifetimes before you can get to democracy. They don't care about the same things. Biden would not talk to MBS after he cut off the guy's head, and then 6 months later, when we needed Saudi Arabia, he went over there and fist bumped him.
Something about the Republican doctrine that is fascinating to me. I've been in the party for 25 years, working in it. We've always been war and peace. I think Trump has changed it to peace and war. He talks about peace more than he talks about war. He's still hawkish enough to bomb people that need to be bombed, like the Houthi rebels. But I get the feeling he's responding to all these new inflows of constituents to the Republican Party. Maybe they were Democrats before, maybe they weren't even political before, but they would much rather hear an American president talk about peace. And the banner in the Middle East at his rally this week said, peace through strength, which is probably one of the most enduring slogans from the Reagan era. He doesn't agree with him on everything, but on that, I think he's right. But putting peace ahead of war, pretty popular with the American people.
Well, I was on this.
All right, so Scott Jennings, of course, just making sense as he usually does. But look what Donald Trump just did to Bill Maher. He got Bill Maher basically to say, I agree with your foreign policy, because Bill, he's right. Like, the left used to be like, oh, you know, we can't be in any of these places or do anything. And what Bill is now coming around to is, we'll make deals with people. You're going to have your cultural norms, right? We can't solve all of the problems in all of these countries. We can't. What Bill describes is, but everybody likes money. I would say everyone likes success, I think might be a more generous or fairer way to share it. Like, ultimately, if all of these countries start realizing, boy, if we stop fighting with everybody, if we get on board a little bit more with America right now, if we stop hating those pesky Jews, if we could do all of that stuff, then our countries will be safer. our people will have more economic incentive to build good lives for themselves. And then all of the dictators that we had to work with all of these years who were so horrible to their own people, right? Like, how did we become an ally to say Egypt? Well, they had Hosni Mubarak, who was a pretty terrible dictator in essence. You know, they had elections where he'd win 98% of the vote for decades. And it's like, and then at some point during Tahrir Square, what was that, 2004, 6, something like that, when there were protests against him and Obama just threw him under the bus, and now Egypt is basically run by the military. All these countries have been run by pretty poor people. And now what Donald Trump is saying is, hey, there's a couple countries doing a little bit better, right? UAE is doing a little bit better. Saudi Arabia, you guys have come a long way. We already have some of these deals with the Abraham Accords. You want to get on board. You want to look at the world in a new way. We are not here to bomb the hell out of you. We're not here to tell you who your leaders should be or anything else. But if you want to succeed with us, if you want to build things with us, you can get on board. And Bill Maher is rightly pointing out, whether you want to call that money or success or whatever, it's like that is the thing that will bring everybody on board. So look, just put a pin in it. We'll see what happens. I can't tell you there's going to be Middle East peace tomorrow or a year from now or 10 years from now. But I think there's a hell of a lot closer chance than there was for the previous 4 years. Could your health issues be caused by an invisible enemy? Fatigue, bloating, brain fog? What if parasites are the real culprit? I was digging into parasite cleanses when I came across this video from a trusted doctor.
What are the main differences between ivermectin and fenbendazole? These are two anti-pathogens used to treat parasitic infections and other similar types of conditions. They are used quite often in the oncology world to treat cancer. They both have as anti-pathogenic abilities.
Interesting, right? Did you know 60 million Americans apparently have parasites? That's scary. They're everywhere in our food, water, and pets. They secretly invade your body, wreaking havoc on your gut, energy levels, and even your brain. And the mainstream medical system doesn't want you to think about this because one great cleanse can change your life. The Wellness Company has a solution for you. Ivermectin plus mebendazole. FDA-approved parasite solutions now combined in one cleanse combo. Just fill out a brief medical intake form to get your 3-month supply. Lots of parasite cleanses are all over social media, but not the gold standard level. MAHA is officially here, and the Wellness Company is making these hard-to-get medications digitally accessible so you can live your best life. Head on over to twc.health/Rubin and use code Rubin to save $90 off plus free shipping. Don't wait. Cleanse your body today and take back control.